What's something you wish more developers understood about authorization?
It's not the same thing as authentication.
It's like, should I say? Oh man.
I guess we can say authentication is who you are and authorization is what permissions you have after it's established that you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing would be keeping it separate, even if no matter what you're doing, keeping it separate makes it easier to audit. Even if you are using imperative code, having something where someone can review specific parts of the code and say, this is related to authorization. Of course, there are also ways to represent that in Polar, but however it's represented, I think so often it's mixed in with business logic, and the more it's mixed in with business logic, the more it's a policy to mix it in with business logic, the harder it is to take out later. I mean, partly this is like, if anyone's watching this does that, it'll make our jobs easier later, but...
So decouple your application logic and authorization logic.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think I keep kind of honing in on this point, but I think a lot of people, when they think of authorization, their immediate thought goes to like just the really simple question of, can this user do this thing on this resource? Mm-hmm. And they don't think about automatically like the other the other questions that sort of appear in your app, which is just different like permutations of essentially the same question. So like I said before, like who can view this resource, like what are all the resources that this user can see, what are all the permissions that this user has on this resource, and then like doing some of those in batch, and like these questions are all essentially like authorization questions, and they appear in your app like in all these different ways often, and so it's a little bit more complicated than like the simple kind of use case, I guess.
Yes, I know question.
Yeah.
Would one of the questions be like, why did this person get access to this resource, or like how did they like actually?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, totally. Yeah, like trying to explain like in your UI like, oh, this user has this role because they have inherited it from
their manager. This,
yeah, exactly.
This person,
yeah, that happens all the time. Exactly. Yeah, like explaining like access is another angle to look at the question for sure.
Yeah, you'd have to put that in explicitly, right? With whatever helper you have to handle the authorization decisions.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, Ash has like a whole like system he figured out for how to do that. I think like one other thing is just any application that is storing different data in different services, which is like most big companies are just like organized that way. It makes things independently scalable. It makes it so that teams can work in an independent, decoupled way. But that's also kind of just inherently at odds in a certain way with the problem of authorization. Often you have your accounts service, and then you have a service that owns a different resource, and most authorization questions involve joining data across multiple different data stores. And I guess like what I wish more people understood is like if you are encountering a lot of complexity with solving for that kind of cross-service joining, that's normal, and it doesn't mean you did something wrong. It just is inherent to the problem of authorization, and it is the reason that people are adopting authorization services of their own.